Thanks for joining us, Michael. Tell us, folks, a bit about your, role at TD Synnex. What kind of customers you're currently serving day to day?
Generally, it's about everything imaginable, right? So we can be servicing a customer that has 3 M365 licenses and
Hmm.
smaller like dental offices or truck driving entities or small accounting firms all the way up to national and multinational customers.
Where do you sit in between? Like, what kind of customers you are managing most of the time?
I am an Azure and Power Platform solution architect. So I come in to assist customers with issues around Azure, our Power Platform, Copilot Studio Fabric, which kind of a derivative, so to speak, or a conglomeration of Power BI and Azure Synapse Analytics and Data Factory and stuff. So data estates and stuff, doing a lot of dev stuff. So there's actually a number of silos of things that I help customers figure out, either in like proof of concepts or cost wise, but it's predominantly covered under Power Platform and Azure.
Okay, so I think Power Platform, Copilot, that's kind of the words I'm hearing you deal with most of the time. I know Copilot, there's been recent changes in pricing as well, and some of the other things like including Copilot in M365 bundle itself. What do you see in, with talking to all this customer, where's the friction you're seeing people who are maybe not adopting Copilot as much? And with this recent change that Microsoft did, have you seen anybody jump on the boat thinking, oh, now it's part of the M365, so we might as well just use it?
I've seen a lot of that, and one of the things that we at TD Synnex did was about a year and a half ago, right after Copilot came out, the M365 Copilot,
Mhm.
because there's like 40 different Copilots in the
I
Microsoft
know.
world, right?
Yeah.
We the M365 team, not my team, put together training labs where resellers and MSPs can bring in their customers, like 20 to 30 of them at a time, and we give them Copilot licenses and we walk them through like a bunch of different scenarios of how to use it in M365 Copilot. And every one of those has pretty much, as far as I know, translated into direct sales where the people are now been walked through. So we provided that 8 hours of the day to like teach them, and then we give them that tenant for 2 more days so they can do on their own stuff. And that's the thing is, ChatGPT is one thing, and of course everyone uses that, and of course it's replacing Google for the most part. But it takes someone for those kind of tool sets for the users that generic users. I don't know if that's a politically correct term, a non-highly
Makes sense.
technical person who can understand how to do these things and figure it out,
Mhm.
and they'll go look at documentation, but sometimes people need to have their held for a couple hours to go through it. And then they're seeing that and they're seeing the benefits of having the time benefits of having Copilot for M365.
That's great. I mean, the adoption is one piece. I think it's coming from my experience too. Like we do provide Copilot training and licenses to customers, but one thing which is we have seen and observed over time with like portion of our customers, maybe like majority of them, is the usage. Where do you sit the user? Where do you think the usage sits with the Copilot licenses? How many people are actually adopting it in their day to day versus just they went into one of training and they kind of forgot about and they're kind of going back to just asking basic questions, just like ChatGPT eventually.
Yeah, well, we take a kind of we suggest it doesn't always happen this way. So sometimes customers come and it like M365 Copilot, which again is not my focus area. I'm
Hmm.
familiar with it. I use it. I use it in conjunction with Copilot Studio. Customers are either asking for it directly, and then some of them are getting it, and they're not finding, and it's not matching their expectations. And a lot of that
Hmm.
is the expectations weren't clearly conveyed to them. They think it's gonna be huge and great, and then they're not properly scaffolding the workload, so they're trying to have it do way much more than this is on the extreme, like, oh, I'm complaining
Hmm.
about it, I hate it because it's not doing what I want, but where they're overloading it, right? And they're running out of tokens. So a lot of people are running out of tokens because they're not structuring the query correctly, or they're not doing, spreading that workload out among sub agents and stuff.
So saying that's probably on like the user knowledge that how they're using it
Yeah.
is not matching with how it's supposed to work.
Well, they're thinking it's hard for me to get into a non-technical
Hmm.
person's head. figure out like how they think about it.
How's the trend you're seeing right now versus how it used to be when you were training with the on-prem RDS AVD? Have you seen like the friction between, staying on premises versus cloud? Now we're kind of way ahead in terms of the cloud maturity, but where do you see the trend is going? Like, are people, is it making things easy for them to decide they want to go to cloud now?
Yeah, so they don't have to worry, my opinion, they don't have to worry so much. The only thing they want to like focus on is data integrity, right? Is my data
Yeah.
secure? And do I want anyone else to have access to it, or
Mhm.
do I need this for it? But a lot of them, like banks and credit unions, we work with those, insurance companies, any ones that have, personal information in there, Microsoft certified across that. So Microsoft getting all those certifications, which weren't there to begin with, when they first started,
Mhm, mhm.
they started taking them down. That's helped a lot. There's still a lot of companies that like to have certain things on premise, but they're able to augment their on premise with cloud infrastructure for like front end portals, customer facing stuff, different things. So they don't have to manage that whole stack on premise. And then
Yeah.
also, if you're a large company, you generally have an offsite failover space, right? So that then is, if you're building that on premise, that's going to be a problem. And that goes back to, when we're doing Azure Site Recovery, our backup to the cloud, and then you can build off of that. That saved a lot of people, right? Because they had the one office location,
Yeah.
50-person company, 150-person company, however big they were. All they had to do is backup. But then something happened, like the hurricane in Virgin Islands. I think that was like one of the first things I encountered. They had the backup in the cloud. Someone convinced them to do backup to the cloud rather than do backup to tape and then
Yeah.
put that in the post office box. A lot of more people are comfortable with the cloud. And then the problem mostly comes down to if you're concerned about the data being in someone else's control, so to speak.